Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Power Tools. I hope you had a great, success-filled weekend selling homes and ready to kick this week into high gear. And what I want to talk to you today about is pre-listing package. So in the next 2 weeks, we're going to do something a little different. I want to talk to you about before a listing presentation and then after a listing presentation. And we kind of two different looks at things and a couple of challenges for you there. So I want to talk about pre-listing packages today. I believe that a pre-listing package should be done in every listing appointment that you have. So here's why I'm going to say that, and I'm going to take a step back to talk about statistics for a second. So if you look at the NAR profile of buyers and sellers, we know that somewhere between 65 to 75% of people on any given year are not going to interview more than one person. So the great news is if you're walking into a listing presentation and you can chew gum and form a complete sentence at the same time, you are probably going to get that business. Great. But let's not take that for granted. And I think that that happens a lot in our industry. And so I want to talk about the pre-listing packet from two perspectives. But before I do that, let's just really briefly go over pre-listing packets. You can go to do a Google search and find all you need to find on this. But a pre-listing packet should be something really simple. This is what my folder looks like. Inside of it, I've got a buying and selling process. I've got a buyer's guide or a seller's guide, depending on who I'm working with. You could have a CMA, you could have sample contracts, you could have an intro letter, you could have information about you or your team. Any of those things that you really want to have, you can do it. It's totally yours to customize, but here's the two things that I want you to really think about. So number one is, this is a symbol of your professionalism. This is a symbol of the value that you bring to the transaction. I don't think that realtors in general do a very good job of building value in themselves. I think that's why a lot of the preconceived notions about realtors are out there in the world. And so this is just an extension of your value, whether you know you're going to get the business or not when you walk in the door, competitive or non-competitive. But here's what I'd like you to think about when it comes to that 25 to 35% of your listing appointments that are in fact competitive is this. If you deliver a pre-listing package to somebody and they have the time to look over it, and there's going to be someone coming in before you ever have a chance to even sit down at the table, they're already going to be comparing that other agent to you. You have the opportunity with this pre-listing package to take ownership of the information that's being presented by everyone else, and they're comparing that person to you automatically. There's an enormous amount of power in that, and there's an enormous amount of leverage that's going to help you win that business when it is your time to present. Because they've already compared everybody else to you, they just need you to come in and close the deal, right? So think about that from a pre-listing packet, and my challenge for you this week is, if you don't already have a pre-listing package, let's put one together. If you've got one, maybe it's time to take a look at it, refresh some things, maybe change some stuff, run a quick Google search and see what everybody else out in the world is doing. There's so much stuff out there. Thank you very much for watching, as always, and I will see you next Monday.